Hey, welcome to the American Woodshop. I'm Scott Phillips.
I'm Scott Grove from Imagine Grove.
This is one amazing woodworker, and here's a great project, the American flag. And how easy is this to make?
It's actually very easy. Simply use a router table and a template, and you're good to go.
Okay, so this is a fun project today, so stay with us.
The American Woodshop with Scott Phillips is brought to you by
Woodcraft, since 1928, providing traditional and modern woodworking tools and supplies to generations of craftsmen. Woodcraft, helping you make wood work.
Pro Tools, for tool pros. Rikon Tools.
Woodcraft Magazine. Projects, plans, and web links designed to help you make wood work. P.S. Wood, home of Timberwolf Swedish silicon steel bandsaw blades and super sharp scroll saw blades. A bed to sleep on. A table to share meals. A house that feels like a home. The Furniture Bank of Central Ohio, providing furniture to neighbors in need.
You know what? Those are perfect seams on this flag, and this is what we're going to make together today with the expert, Scott Grove. Now, Scott, walk us through the steps on this. What's the overview?
Well, the overview is you basically start with a master template or pattern, and this one curve is used for the entire flag. Based on this curve, I'll make a series of templates. One template will cut the top curve, the other template will cut the bottom curve, and the secret is to offset those curves. That's what gives you makes the flag look flowing or blowing in the wind.
Okay, now you can check this plan out on Facebook at the American Woodshop. So this looks really good. And you have 13 stripes.
13 stripes.
Okay.
I like to use domestic hardwoods from the States. This is black cherry and hard maple.
Okay.
And
it looks beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
And then doing the glue up, what glue do you like to use?
I like to just use the Type 3, and Type 3 is waterproof, and I even have a sample where I've put it in a dishwasher and I throw it in a refrigerator. I've tested it, and it holds up forever. It's what you can throw in the pool and let it float around. It's great stuff.
This is where Scott calls, oh, heck no, don't try that at home. Okay, but let's head over to the bandsaw and make those templates first.
Sure, that'd be great.
Let's get to it. Now, we're about to use some power tools, but whatever you do, be sure to read, understand, and follow all the instructions that come with the tools and products you use. Work safely, right?
Yeah, that's right. Eye protection, ear protection.
Absolutely, got to have that. And now this is the artistic part of this project. How do you make that flowing curve?
What?
What?
Oh. Yeah, well, I typically just kind of do a offset curve. I like to freely sketch it and refine it. So do you want to give it a try?
Oh, heck yeah. That's no big deal. So let's make that something like that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, we're going to try it on this side of the board here.
Fine.
So, I mean, and usually it takes a couple tries. It's not uncommon for me to sort of work this curve until it looks good, and then I decide what line do I want to follow, and I'll sort of sketch that in. It's not that critical. I'm going to kind of be loose with this on the bandsaw too. Gotcha. Then we'll bring it back and we'll sand and really refine that line.
And so this one template is good for
everything.
Okay, cool. So we've got this laid out, and now let's make the cuts.
Okay.
Okay. Hearing protections in. Up to speed. Columns locked on the bandsaw. That's a 1/4 inch wide, 6 tooth per inch blade. So best one for your money. The biggest thing about using the bandsaw, if you don't stay exactly on the line, doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
But keep going. Don't worry about it.
Stop.
Yeah. You want a fluid curve. Then with a little bit of sanding, you use that profile to make your template.
That's correct. I'll come in here and we're gonna refine this line. It's really important that this line is smooth with no bumps, because those little bumps would transfer onto your flag. So let's work this line out so it's just perfect and very graceful.
So double-sided tape, powerful stuff. Now, show us how you use this.
Yeah, it's really good. So first, it's important that you have this refined curve on your master pattern. Then I'm going to use double stick tape. And I'm going to stick this down onto a piece of 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch MDF. Make sure that's nice and secure. And from here, I'm going to use this to cut my templates.
Okay.
And it's this is where it gets a little confusing. So I'm going to take this off and show you on these here. So with the use of an 1.5 inch template guide.
That goes on a router.
It goes on a router. Okay. And here I'm using an offset router base because an offset router base will give you more stability and control.
Absolutely.
That's always safety first. So I'm going to use this here. So this 1.5 inch template guide with a 1/2 inch router bit will make an offset cut 1/2 inch. Okay. So that's the cut, what's going to look like. And at the same time, it's going to cut sort of your waist piece, which is going to be 1 inch from that master pattern. Right? Then, this is the secret, then I take the waist and I'm going to use that to cut another piece, which again will cut it a 1/2 inch away. And what that does is it takes the router bit and puts it on either side of the cutting seam.
Right.
That gives me 2 templates that perfectly match.
And they do. Okay, now what you just saw were the patterns that make the templates. Now to make the templates, walk us through the paces on this, and then we'll see how we can get these edges just perfect.
Sure. So we had our pattern, and that pattern cut an offset, a 1/2 inch offset, to create our templates. And we did a top and a bottom, and as you can see, these templates now perfectly match.
Exactly
And
right.
that's the whole secret to it all. So I label top and bottom. At this point, I'm going to put some sandpaper on here to help hold my wood in place so it doesn't slide when I'm routering it. I want to now add some hold downs, so I countersunk in with a Fosner bit some 1/4 T-nuts. And that will allow you to add some hold downs. Now you can certainly buy hold downs, or you can make the Scott Grove original patent pending 2.0 version of the extended hold down and just get some 1/4 rod, bend it over. I put some electrician's tape on here, some double nuts, washer, and this allows me to
Brilliant.
put these in and extends. And the beauty of these, if they overhang a little bit and you hit it with a router bit, they're wood, no harm, no foul.
Right.
And this allows me to hold my wood in place when I'm routing on a router table.
And that gives us perfect glue joints every time.
Every time.
You have an A side, you have a B side, you get those edges perfect. All the pieces have to match.
That's right. So these are the pieces. Look at that.
Okay, and so by doing that, you can get big glue ups. And the one thing you showed us was that you like to leave the full board on, front and back, to be able to clamp.
That's correct. Your first stripe, you want to leave a straight edge, and then you can add notches to align your clamp direction.
Okay.
And then from then on, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make our stripes.
Now, we're ready to make the first board, Scott. Run us through that process.
So the first board obviously is the red or the darker color. So here I'm using a piece of cherry. I'm going to lay this underneath, and I'm going to use my template just as a rough guide. Line this up and draw that out. Let's go cut that on the bandsaw.
Deal.
I'll take my first pre-cut board, put it on the template, and just make sure that it overhangs just ever so slightly. And I check that with my finger. And move up my clamps, and I clamp them down nice and tight. and you can check to make sure there's a overhang here. We're going to router that off on the router table. So what do you think of that?
Now that's exactly what you need for a glue joint, and bringing it up to this edge right here, we can see
That's a perfect fit.
it is. And that's why the templates with the router bit and the guide bushing, that's the way to go.
That's correct.
Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is
I'm gonna cut the other side of the stripe, and this is where offsetting the line gives it that sort of wavy effect. So I simply use this template. Now normally I could go parallel to this, but that doesn't have much expression.
right.
So what I found is by shifting this thing over a little bit
Very cool.
and making sort of this taper, so this is skinnier here and wide, and again this is still parallel, so I want to shift this all over. So I shift it over and I tilt it so it's tapered.
It gives
So
you
now-
dimension. It
Yeah,
gives you
me
movement.
dimension, and I'm going to simply trace that. And there's no rhyme or reason. I can kind of wiggle this around on every stripe and make them a little different.
Okay.
So we're going to go cut that on a bandsaw.
And then from there, what we obviously want, since this is black cherry and hard maple,
Yeah.
we want to alternate the pattern on
Correct.
cherry and maple, 13 stripes for the American flag.
That's right.
And that's done using exactly the technique you already understand. So a few more cuts
Yeah.
at the bandsaw, a little bit more routing, and then it's on to the glue up.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay. So now we have this narrow stripe. And again, we want to just overhang it. And this is where these long clamps really come in handy.
And it does help to have the abrasive underneath to help it.
That's correct. And I have abrasive on the bottom of these also.
Excellent. It's a good little tip. So this gets clamped down, and then from there you're using the pattern bit again with that bushing on the bottom
Yeah.
to follow the template edge, and then you get that perfect line.
Yeah, and this, I've gone as far down as 1/8 of an inch. You can make this really thin if you want to.
Wow.
Yeah, it's this is not going anywhere. You want to make sure this is really on there securely, and I like to have at least 5 clamps. You could even do 6 if you wanted to, and kind of get the inside and outside corner and the ends really secure.
So once it's routed and we have all the pieces routed, then it's time for the glue up.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, on to routing then.
Okay.
Now you're making a royal mess here. Using your finger,
I love using my
it.
finger, yeah.
Okay, spreading it out. And so you have glue on all parts of the joints now.
Correct. I
And-
put notches in the outside boards to help me so my clamps don't slip. So we're going to want to, hold on, so we're going to want to also take our culls and put packing tape on.
Gotcha.
I can put these on the top and the bottom. That'll help keep the board flat.
Okay,
We'll clamp this together lightly this way. Let's put some clamps on. Yep,
Gotcha.
go ahead.
go for it.
And just lightly put pressure because they're going to slip. You see how this
Right.
is pulling that one that way? This
Absolutely.
is going to pull that one. And we want to sort of play with these and then align everything up.
Very good. And
then we'll clamp it down flat.
gotcha. Once the glue is dried for a good 40 minutes, clamps off, then we can take it over to the bandsaw and sculpt on the outside edge of the line. The main thing here is to make that flag proud. Make those lines curve, don't stop in the cut, and if you vary a little bit, don't sweat it. So once it's cut out, from there we can take it to the plane or plane it down to see that beautiful grain. And boy, the contrasting cherry and maple, it just doesn't get prettier than that. American woods. And then from there, we can take it to sanders to work the edges, so oscillating spindle sander, disc sander. You can even hand sand it, but sand it down And once it's down, then you can take it to a 1/4 inch round over bit that's piloted on a router table and round over those edges. Just make sure on the end grain you take your time. Start on the end grain and finish on long grain. That way, if you do have a little bit of tear out on the end grain, you can take it off in the final pass on the long grain. Now it's time to do the inlay. Take it away, Scott.
Okay. So with Inlay, you want to use a template guide. These are available at most hardware stores that sell woodworking tools.
Sure.
And it's a template guide, just miniaturized from the one we were using earlier. I'm using an 1/8 inch bit, and I set my depth to be an 1/8 inch into the wood, roughly. You're going to then want to cut your own template. You can freehand draw this, or you can lay it out with a compass, and that's available. Just check out Imagine Grove or look that up, how to lay out a star. So the next thing I want to do is sort of figure out where I want to put it. So I'm going to kind of just set it here. That kind of looks good. You could cut out a paper template and kind of move it around if you want to get a better visual. But I think that's pretty good. And we're going to dog this baby down. I also have sandpaper on the bottom here, so that helps keep it from sliding around.
Right, and your hand action of the router down to the template's going to help it too.
That's correct.
And the inlays, wait until you see that.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and router this out.
Okay.
And it's better to start right in the center and tilt the router base in.
Right.
And work my way around and then sort of do a clean out.
Now that's how you cut a star, but you had to add some details. Run us through the paces on that.
Yeah, so if you want to sharpen up the points of the star, I simply just take a wide enough chisel so I can use the existing flat as a guide, and I just sort of
walk it
down to a point.
It does look better when you add those hand touches.
Yeah. Kind of come down like that. You can also sort of come in this way a little bit, and then I'll take a X-Acto knife. I want to make sure that the tip is really sharp, so I use one of these diamond card scrapers, and I simply cut that point out. Work goes pretty quick.
Very good.
Yeah. Now the next thing is we're going to inlay it with Easy Inlay's mother of pearl and opal.
Okay.
And what I found is two things that. We have two different colors here, so we want to paint the bottom so you don't see the stripes go through. You could leave the stripes in if you want, but by painting it a darker color, it really contrasts with the mother of pearl, makes it pop. You can do that with black, or in this case, we're going to go with blue. So I take a little shellac and some aniline powder, and what I do, I simply add a little there, wet my brush, dip it in there, and then I can put it on the edge of the cup. And I make myself a little palette, right? I can add and I can get a little more in there, and I have sort of blue shellac go in here, and I can simply just paint the bottom. This is dark midnight blue. I think that's appropriate.
We'll let that dry a bit.
Yep.
And then once it's dried, on to the next step of inlay.
Yeah.
The hottest thing going right now.
That's right, and it's easy inlay. So now that the blue shellac is dry, we're going to inlay it with the Easy Inlay's mother of pearl. Okay. And while I'm doing that, I want you to count out 50 pieces of red opal.
Red opal.
Red opal, in different sizes for representing all the different states.
Okay.
And that's Rhode Island right there, and there's California.
And there's New York.
Yeah,
it's the Empire State.
There you go. Okay, so how I like to mix resin, especially epoxy here, it's a 2-to-1 ratio, and I use these little syringes. This goes up to 3 cc's, and I probably only need 2 cc's altogether, so I'm going to mix 3 total. So I'll have a part A, which is 2 components, and I'm going to draw up 2 cc's there.
And it's really important to get this ratio correct.
Right on, yeah. I'm going to make double
Because
that.
otherwise, it doesn't cure properly, and it can really mess up a project.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
So that was 4 cc's, and now I'm going to do 2 cc's here.
Very good.
Now we're right on.
Okay.
And let's put this in that cup there.
Okay.
You have a torch.
I do.
It's our favorite part. So one thing you want to do is release any surface tension and air bubbles. So you see there's a couple little air bubbles there. If I just dust this real quickly with a torch, it's going to pop those air bubbles. You can also use a heat gun if you'd like.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
Now we're going to go ahead and sprinkle in our mother of pearl. And you can do a lot, you can do a little. And I slowly build up.
And that really captures the light.
Yeah, the chatoyance and the iridescence is just wonderful. What you can do, now you have some of these holes, I can then take and I can, you know, if I'm not happy, if I think this is too concentrated of mother of pearl here, I can kind of move this stuff around while it's floating in. But I do want to sort of evenly fill this all over. Let me kind of get that.
There you go.
We can either tap these opals in here. And we're just going to kind of look at these. I might want to move some of them around. Yeah.
It's looking good.
Okay. So we're going to let this gel up and then top coat it with some more epoxy.
So just make it clear.
Yeah, fill it up.
Very
One
good.
thing I want to do is I do want to kind of protect
The wood.
the wood. So I'm going to take some tape and just tape off these
Edges.
edges. I probably could have done that beforehand if we were thinking.
Oh, no, this is working great.
It works just fine. Okay, we've waited a little bit for this to gel up. Now we're just going to cap this off with some clear.
And look at the
Oh, it does that
starch,
that
yes.
opal really pops, man.
And the red.
Yeah,
Good grief. It's the perfect blend.
it is.
Who needs 50 stars? There they are, right there.
All there, yeah.
Okay, now the bad news is it's going to take this 2 hours to really set.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know the process now. And on this unfinished inlay that's cured out, actually this is set for over 3 days now, which is good.
Yeah.
We're going to use butcher block conditioner because this is going to be a fancy high-end cutting board or cheese server. And just look at the cherry
Man.
come alive. And the cool thing about this butcher block conditioner is if it gets dulled down, and it will because it's going to be used
You
for
can use it.
food. That's
Yeah.
right. You just rejuvenate it. You could sand it down a little bit, clean it off, and get that back out there. In fact, this is my go-to wax on top of cured out finishes.
Right?
You know, it's just a wonderful way to
Good
go.
for blemishes too, maybe, and the wrinkles, the cat.
Well, it is food safe.
Yeah.
Okay, but right there,
Wow.
that is a masterpiece. And I got to tell you, Scott, this is just so much fun. Now, there's some steps to it. For more details, check
Sure.
us out
Yeah.
online and also at Facebook because there are plans for this. And what could be better? In your own home, as a gift to the one you love, this is the perfect addition to any kitchen. But it also looked great.
Just on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, look at this right there. That's just spectacular. So check this man's site out because the furniture-inspired work is just spectacular. You do seminars all around the country.
I do, and in England, yeah. In
Okay.
Scotland, yeah.
Off to jolly old England we go.
Yeah, yeah.
But here from the American Woodshop, raise a flag, go make one. And thank you, Scott Grove.
Sure, my pleasure.
Outstanding.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Woodcraft since 1928, providing traditional and modern woodworking tools and supplies to generations of craftsmen. Woodcraft, helping you make wood work.
Pro Tools. For tool pros. Rikon Tools.
Woodcraft Magazine. Projects, plans, and web links designed to help you make wood work. P.S. Wood, home of Timberwolf Swedish silicon steel bandsaw blades and super sharp scroll saw blades. A bed to sleep on. A table to share meals. A house that feels like a home. The Furniture Bank of Central Ohio, providing furniture to neighbors in need.
For more information on tips behind the American Woodshop and watch free episodes 24/7, check us out online and like us on Facebook.